Welcome to IGOW4. I'm Callisto, and it's time for the third challenge of the preseason, Emax Powerloops. Let's check in with Studio Dan for the requirements.
Thanks, Callisto. Alright, so for this Emax Powerloops third preseason challenge, what you're going to have to be doing is obviously the Powerloop maneuver. So for a basic overview here, let's pretend we have some type of over-under obstacle here that we can fly both underneath and above. So we're going to start flying with forward momentum from behind the obstacle. You're going to pass underneath that obstacle, then you're going to lean back and throttle up, so you go up and then lean back more, and so keep throttling up so that you push yourself back over the top of the obstacle, and then continue back flipping until you again see the obstacle, and then cut your throttle so you drop down, then throttle back up as you come back and fly forward again underneath the obstacle a second time to complete the power loop. Okay, so for part A of the challenge, you must find or create an over-under obstacle of any size. So an over-under obstacle just means any obstacle that you can fly under or through, and then over the top of, and then back under or through. So for this first part of the challenge, you're going to need to complete at least one power loop on your over-under obstacle. So a full power loop starts when you pass under the obstacle, and then you're going to tilt back and go upside down and backwards over the top of the obstacle, and then you complete the power loop by again passing under or through the obstacle a second time. And you must do that with no bumps or ground taps. Now, it doesn't matter if you have a nice smooth loop motion, which in IGOW we refer to as constant loop motion. That will be a requirement in later challenges, but it is not a requirement in this first preseason challenge. But you do want to make your loops as smooth as possible. You don't want to come down on the backside and fall through your own prop wash and catch, and especially you don't want to drift off the opposite direction before you come back and go through or underneath the obstacle again. Ideally, you want to push yourself far enough back while you're upside down before you finish your loop that you can come down in a smooth motion and pass under the obstacle a second time. For part B of the challenge, you're going to have to find or create an IGOW approved gate size obstacle, which is just any gate or opening that is 28 inches or less on the inside open dimension. So you're going to have to do one power loop with the gate at the bottom of your power loop. Alright, now let's go out to field reporter Dan so he can show us how to do a basic power loop. Hello, field reporter Dan here on location at the local skate park, where I'm going to demonstrate part A of the Emax Powerloops challenge and try to power loop this full pipe here that we have at our local park. That's a full concrete pipe. Kind of crazy for a local skate park. So here we are at the local skate park, and we're going to go over a tutorial for the basic power loop. So our any size obstacle that we're going to start with is this tree here, because it's kind of spaced out from the other trees, and of course we've got the grass below it just in case we do crash into the ground. We want to try to not break stuff at first, then we'll move over to the pipe there. So the wind is blowing this way. I'm flying now back towards me, so I'm going to want to start my power loop flying the opposite direction, so the wind pushes me back when I'm going upside down and backwards over the obstacle, rather than fighting the wind when I'm doing that. So first I'm going to start with some forward momentum. I'm going to go under the tree. I'm going to lean back. I'm going to throttle up. I'm going to make sure I'm way far past over the tree. Come around on the loop. Whoop, had a little prop wash there. Finish out passing under the tree again. Alright, so I fell down a little bit flat, and that's why I got in my own prop wash and had a little mess up here. So let's try that again. Under the tree, back, throttle up, finish the loop around, come around, and under the tree again to finish it off. So you pass under the obstacle first time to start your loop, then you lean back and throttle up, so you go backwards and over the obstacle, then you finish your flip, you come around, and then you forward throttle up and again pass under the obstacle a second time to complete the power loop. Alright, so then once you kind of get the hang of how far you need to throw yourself back, You don't need to do such a huge loop anymore. You don't need to go so tall and big, and make sure you clear the obstacle. Once you get a feel for it, then you can start to shorten up your loop and try to make it a little tighter. So now that I've got a feel for this tree, I'll try to go under it and get a little tighter with it, maybe even a little tighter. Not bad. All right, so now that we've pulled off the tree, let's see if we can do the giant pipe. All right, so same idea. We want to get some momentum going. We're gonna throttle up. We need to go way back because this pipe's real big. Flip around, come up, and finish the loop. Pretty sweet. See if we can do it both directions, if we can fight the wind through it. It's gonna be harder. We're gonna have to push a little further, but we got it again. All right, everyone. I hope you guys find some cool obstacles to power loop. Go out into your community, find something fun. And remember, it can be anything, any size, in any location for this first part A. See if we can do a little more technical loop to finish it off. This one's really tight. Whee! Got it. Thanks, field reporter Dan. Those were some nice big outdoor loops. But now let's go to IGOW team pilot and freestyle expert Callisto so he can show us how he does loops on a gate in a much more confined space.
Hello, I'm IGOW team pilot Callisto, and today I'm going to be explaining how I approach power loops with a loop.
Alright, for the power loop, what you got to think about is the throttle blip, cut, catch. Throttle blip, cut, catch. Throttle blip, cut, catch. And my gate's getting low. Uh-oh. Alright, and then a non-constant loop motion would be like this. Non-constant loop. Constant loop. And then the best thing to do with these, if you've never done power loops before, is to try a maverick loop. Throw yourself up. You throttle blip, cut, catch, the same as a power loop, just with no pitch. A little bit of pitch forward and back. But it'd be a lot easier to start with these on your throttle blip, cut, catch. Look at that thing, it's like it's sliding. Alright, let's do some more. Alright guys, good luck.
Okay, let's go back to Studio Dan so he can explain the expert and bonus parts of the challenge.
Oh, that's right. Thanks for reminding me, Callisto. So the bonus/expert part of this challenge, which is not required, on top of the preseason not being required, this challenge is not required for even this part of the preseason. Anyway, if you want to push yourself and have a little bit of an extra challenge, you can try to do a power loop with the gate at the top of your loop. So this is much more difficult than flying through at the bottom where you can see it while you're flying forward. You got to come in underneath and then basically go up blind and hit it as you're going backwards and flipping through it. Alright, so let's go back to IGOW team pilot and freestyle expert Callisto so he can show us how he approaches this difficult maneuver.
Overhead power loop gate. Just go underneath it, under through it, and back through it. A little bit harder than the ground gate to start with, but it's a lot easier once you get through it. Not really that bad. You can even do some mavericks through it to practice with. Throttle blip, cut, catch. Throttle blip, cut, and then catch. And a maverick. Just for practicing. And then do your throttle blip, cut, catch. Go right back through it because you got to go through it, then back underneath it to complete the power loop. So throttle blip, cut, catch. While pitching back. I forgot to mention the pitching back. Throttle blip, cut, catch while pitching back. Throttle blip, cut, catch while pitching back, and no ground taps. There you go, guys. The hanging power loop gate.
Alright, IGOWers, have fun, find some really cool obstacles with power loop. Good luck, and happy whooping.